Well, that turned out to be a lot easier than we initially thought. Sixers with a big win over the Sacramento Kings. Dominant performance by the guys tonight. Final score on this one this evening in Sacramento, 139-118. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show, live from the Xfinity Mobile Studio. We are presented by Bet365, where winning is everything. And man, did they need that win? Did we need that win? As we are here with you late, as usual, on these late-night West Coast trip games, along with Derek Kyle and Devon Breathe, president of Basketball Ops, all of you hanging out with us on this late Thursday night, early Friday morning, just discussing this dominant performance. We'll get to our unsung hero a little bit later. I think you all know who the player of the game is. We'll discuss him at length, of course.
I sure hope
with his
so.
New career high. And we will check in on our Bet365 picks, since this is presented by Bet365. But, all right, Kyle. Great performance from VJ Edgecombe, as he just phenomenal tonight with his new career high. He was certainly gunning for that 40. Dominic Barlow didn't realize it. Justin Edwards shot a three, made it. And VJ Edgecombe is standing there in the corner with shot ready, so he can at least try to hit 40. But nevertheless, 38, 11 assists, 7 rebounds in 39 plus minutes of work. And he was just tremendous. Also, just one turnover tonight against the Sacramento Kings. Really, as the main thing as we start things off, he was great. Quentin Grimes, Justin Edwards set the tone early offensively and defensively. All of them together, the entire team, really gave a great effort against this Kings team.
Yeah, I think it was a little insane that Nurse left him in for 39 minutes to try to chase whatever he was going to do. First, it was the career high. Eventually, it was the 40 ball. But that was it's not as good. It was the best scoring performance of his career. And I think the thing that was so striking about it is they didn't bother him one time in that game. He completely played at his own pace, dominated from the mid-range. Like, yes, he's 3 for 7 from 3, but a lot of his work was baseline turnarounds, free throw line pull-ups. He had the one moment in, I think it was the third quarter, because he had, 13 points in the third. The moment where he got to his spot, stops, pump fakes, Killian Hayes jumps into him, and then he makes the shot through the contact, N1, makes the free throw. I was sitting there thinking, man, DeMar DeRozan's got to be looking at that like, I'm so proud of him. Like, looking at this young guy getting up to some of my tricks from the mid-range. They're saying the mid-range is dead and nobody can shoot those shots. So to see this guy who's coming in as a number 3 overall pick, that's some special stuff that you see. And look, that's been a shot, or that area of the floor has been really up and down for VJ. And early in the year, it was a lot more down than up. Like, he shot the cover off the ball from 3 and got to his spots from the mid-range, but was not necessarily making those. And I do think this is more of he's getting reps, and you support the fact that he's building a diverse attack for himself right now. But I think the fact that he can keep getting to those spots consistently, to me, is more important over the long term than like what are the percentages and what does it look like night to night, because his path to stardom, I do think, rests somewhat on his ability to kill teams from the mid-range, because he's always going to be probably a streaky shooter. I don't think he's ever going to get to that like 38, 39, 40% on the type of volume the Maxey is on. So he's going to have to slash more. He's going to have to live on these types of shots. I love I think it was the first shot he made tonight was the pass fake runner, like just how smooth and fluid that was. Like, that's a move that it can take some guys a lot of time to learn. So I think just the pure diversity with the way he scored tonight was awesome to me, to see so many different shots in his bag. And we're not expecting him to hit all of those in the same game all the time. I think for him to be in year one, and as someone who we look at as like, he could be a questionable scorer at times. He goes through ups and downs as a rookie. to already have the makings of what will eventually be a deeper and more polished bag is really, really awesome to see. And it's a game that makes you wonder, like, what would a VJ season have looked like if he went to a lesser team where he's getting more reps and he's more of a focal point of the offense compared to a lot of this year. He's playing off of an all NBA type guy in Maxey, playing off a former MVP in Joel Embiid. He's even deferring to Paul George in some of these bench lineups. And you wonder, what would a season have looked like for VJ on, like a Washington or a Utah or one of these other teams that's not playing for anything right now. And you just really feel thankful if you're a Sixers fan or someone who just watches a lot of their games, because he is not just really good, but he's fun to watch. He's a big-time competitor. And under all of this, he gets 11 assists because as they start throwing doubles and pressure and showing high against him, instead of chasing, maybe I can get 45 or whatever it is, he's making the right basketball plays, and he's helping that game go from a 10, 12-point lead into 20 and 25 and making it a laugher. So just an outstanding performance from VJ. And he needed one of these because it's been kind of tough for him efficiency-wise, and just that Nuggets game was a disaster on every front. This was an awesome, awesome game for VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah, and I mean, Kyle touched on it. The last 5 games, he had been shooting just 37.5% from the field, including just 2 for 21 from three-point range. So the jumper has really been a struggle. We've talked about it a bit, that it's going to be tough for him to really, be efficient right now with so many people out of the lineup, because spacing around him is just so poor, because there's so few options that teams have no real concern about throwing 2 or even 3 defenders his way. The shots are just going to be super high level of difficulty. And he got a little bit of a reprieve because, quite frankly, the Kings just don't give 2 darns about defense. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. That being said, it would be one thing if he scored 38 and just had a complete heater from 3. We've seen him do that in the past. This, I think, was encouraging for 2 reasons. And Kyle touched on it. I thought they handled, when they did throw pressure at him and actually tried to play defense, I thought he handled that pressure well. 11 assists to 1 turnover is an incredible night, even against a slop of a defense. But to that mid-range shot, he came into this, his percentages on long twos, like 14 feet, 3-point line, is actually relatively respectable. He's up to 41%. And to Kyle's point, that was in the 20s for the first month and a half of the season. So he's definitely, improved of late, but it's on low volume. Like, he has had 36 makes from mid-range, from long mid-range on the season. That's like 1 every other game. He came into this one and he was willing to hunt those shots because he knew that that's what he was going to get. That's what the other team was going to give him. And he looked real good. He looked under control. He had good balance. He had a real nice pump fake at one point and was using counters. It was a diversity we don't see all that often, including times, in the past week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when he's been the 1 or the 2 option. We haven't seen this kind of diversity from him. It was a incredible performance in virtually every respect. It was a performance that I think we all needed to see, not just because you needed this win. And if you do, knock on wood, get Joel back and start getting some of your starters back, you do still have a chance of trying to compete for a top 6 spot, even if it's unlikely. At the very least, you want to make sure you get a 7-8 spot so you don't have to win 2 straight single elimination games to qualify for the playoffs. So these wins, even if they're against bad teams, even if they're against teams that you expect them to win, they are crucial. You cannot have a slip up right now and still accomplish the goals that you're looking to accomplish as a team and, get through this period when you don't have most of your starters. For him and Justin and Quentin, and we'll get to them, I'm sure, it was absolutely massive for them to come out there as focused, as aggressive, and as effective as they were tonight or last night.
We'll get to the standings later, but Derek, as you say that, half a game back of 6 after this win and teams being off.
Crazy stuff.
2 games back of 5, even after all of this.
Can you imagine if Joel came back, Paul came back, and they just went on a heater and ended up the 5 seed after all this nonsense?
2 years ago when Joe came back, would they win like 8 straight?
They won like 8 in a row to end the year. Yeah.
Yeah. Couple of things off of what you guys said. Kyle, when you started off and you talk about just how unfazed he was, every time he does it like this, I just go back to both the summer league games and how he looked in that Rising Stars game when when he feels like he's the best one out there. And this is different because, of course, no Maxey, Embiid, George, Oubre, but he's still playing against. However you look at the Kings, and we talked about them of how competitive they've been over the last 10. Russell Westbrook's out there on the floor, and we'll talk about some of what they did tonight, DeMar DeRozan. But he felt like there was nothing that the Kings could do to stop him. And he was the best player on the floor, whether it was that first runner, to your point, that fell for him, and then a few of the other passes that dropped. The fact that they put up so many points in that first quarter that they just felt pretty much in a groove and seeing that they could get away with whatever they wanted to tonight. That always reminds me of how when you say you wonder what it would look like on a lesser team if he had the ball in his hands a lot. Honestly, wonder what it would look like if he had his other guys around him all season long, where he could do this in spots where they're doing their thing, but he's learning so much from all of them, where all the double teams are going their way for two of them at least, and Paul George is getting the attention that he's getting, and him with the practices, all the games that are under his belt, and how he would function as that fourth, sometimes fifth option, because Oubre is also going to have his nights, and how he would look in that environment if they were out there on a more regular basis than we've seen. So number one, we know they got this one right with that third overall pick. We knew that already, but he just continues to show. And when he does this, that's where we get upset, trying to stay within the moment of where they are against the Kings, but of how he just couldn't be in a better surrounding all season long to continue to help him grow. While he has grown from game one to where we are right now, just wish that he had that opportunity with all those guys. But with tonight, setting that tone early on where he and Grimes were already putting those points on the board, Justin Edwards as well, knocking down those early threes. It's just great to see him keep that going. And to your point of the third quarter, where he was able to hang that 13 in the third, it was just so easy getting to his spots with the fadeaways, picking up the ball at the right time for those long strides to finish with the around the cup, getting a nice defensive play where he could leak out a little bit to get ahead of the pack for a dunk and a finish for the Sixers to get some easy transition buckets. He had it all going. The 11 assists, where you talked about not getting all caught up, a little bit caught up late, but not caught up for the 40 points where there were open teammates, and he found those guys for those open opportunities. So love to see that. And this is what we ask for. You may not have won that Denver game, but we just simply wanted to see this type of performance where you were the star, you were the lead guy against a team that just simply couldn't do anything with you. And while he did that against Brooklyn, the second half, they fell apart. You want to see this more consistently, and you hope that when they do come back, as you guys just said, could you imagine if they're going to run, get a 5 seed? But whatever it is for the remainder of the games, when the players do come back and they're all out there together, that confidence that he is showing out there on the floor, that is going to be enormous for them when they come back, just getting their legs underneath them. But hey, guess what? I can pick up the slack until you guys really have your feet underneath you after so much time off the floor for all four of them when they eventually get back on the floor with him. So just a phenomenal performance, just seeing overall what he did tonight against that Kings team.
Yeah, and on the subject of confidence, I know you see his interviews and hear him talk, and like, I can't describe to you how different my perception of him is at this point compared to when you're just watching him play at Baylor, and like the types of shots that he's taking. You say, like one of our big debates that we had on the show was, is this guy going to take the star shots, like the pull-up threes, the pull-up mid-rangers, the things that separate the guys who are good NBA players from the very good, the great guys, the stars, the superstars? Will he even take those? Is he going to get enough up that he can get to that type of level? And at times this year, that's been a battle, whether there have been Maxey and Embiid and all these guys out there or not. They'll have some games where it's like, hey, he only took 8 shots. Hey, he only took 12 shots when we want 15, we want 20, we want whatever the number is. But then you talk to him in the locker room, and you also see in many games the crunch time prowess, right? Like the game the other night where he didn't shoot all that well, but he hits 2 big-time shots in the final 2 minutes of the game, and that's why they win the game. And a lot of times I'll be in the locker room and asking him questions like, how do you get up for those moments when you're struggling through the game? And he goes, honestly, like, I thought I was going to make all the rest of them too. Like I put in so much work and I put in so much time that the thought that I'm not going to make these shots doesn't cross my mind. And it is the mentality that you hear from like the truly great guys, the guys who are just able to, hey, I missed the game winner. We're in the middle of a losing streak. Things are going bad right now. And then I'm going to come back the next game, the next play, the next quarter, whatever it is. And I still think I'm going to dominate this game. And that doesn't always mean that it's going to be as a scorer. We've seen nights where VJ dominates as someone who's, making defensive plays, someone who's really impacting the game on the glass, passing, whatever it might be. And over the course of this season, I think what you've seen is just it's a kid and it's a player that I think is going to give himself every chance to be as good of a player as he can possibly be. And this one is a tease of like, if he increasingly gets the keys to this team along with Maxey, you put some shooting around them, you put some guys around them to help them go to work, sky's the limit for this kid.
Shooting? What's that? Shooting
Ask
from
Justin Edwards, baby.
Are you allowed to
the
do
heck
that?
out of the ball? Yeah, I didn't think you were allowed to do that, but Justin might be proving that wrong, and I'm sure we're going to talk quite a bit about him at some point on the show tonight. Zero, the Devon Zero graphic.
Our new player of the game. Our player of the game with the new career high, VJ Edgecombe, 38 points, 11 assists, 7 boards, and just in total control tonight, leading the Sixers to a dominant performance over the Sacramento Kings, 139-118. Kyle said we'll talk about Justin Edwards. We're going to talk about him on the other side. Also, in a really good groove right now, we'll discuss him and Quentin Grimes. We'll get to the unsung hero on the other side of that conversation. Sixers win, dominant performance, 139-118 over the Sacramento Kings. They needed it. We'll get to the standings later again. They're only a half game out, and it is hilarious that they are just half game out right now of the 6th seed. It's the PHLY Sixers post-game show on the late night. Spring is here, and that also means pest season is right around the corner. Ants, spiders, bees, and other unwanted pests become much more active this time of year. Get those out of here, making now the perfect time to protect your home this moment. That's why our friends at Evans Pest Control, they are running a spring sales event for new customers. If you're new to Evans Pest Control, you can get 5% off of general pest control services when you book your first treatment. All you have to do is use the promo code SPRING5 when you schedule your service. This offer runs through March 15th, from March 15th through March 31st, and it applies to standard general pest control treatments designed to help you protect your home. Again, Spring 5 when booking, receive 5% off your service. So if you're looking for reliable pest protection this spring, reach out to Evans Pest Control, schedule your service, and use the code SPRING5 to save 5% during the spring sales event. Learn more at Evans Pest MGMT. That's again, evanspestmgmt.com.
Guys, we have all had that moment in life, the one where you realize you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach. Maybe you were stopping for some food on the way back from the beach. They're on the roof of your car. All of a sudden, there they go. Maybe they're at a gas station 3 states away. We've all been there. And then I found Shady Rays, and it changed the game for me because these are sunglasses made for real life. They're seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and they're also not stupidly expensive. But here's the wild part. If you lose or break your pair of Shady Rays, even on the very first day, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair, no guilt trip, just replacements. So now I can wear my sunglasses anywhere without fear, on hikes, at concerts, on the boat. I brought mine to Egypt, to the pyramids. I felt that good. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. So go to shadyrays.com and use the code PHLYSR for 40% off of 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Sixers Kings. Sixers dominant 139-118. Career high for VJ Edgecombe, but also Derek, a career high for Justin Edwards tonight. 32 points, 4 assists, knocked down 7 threes on the night, 7 for 11 from behind the three-point line. In the first quarter, you could see that he had it going. He was 3 for 5 in the first quarter from 3 for 13 points. Edgecombe had 12. Quentin Grimes had 8. Grimes finished with 27 on the night with 5 boards and 7 assists. Really good stretch here right now for Justin Edwards, Derek. And just, we have some people with some super chats and all, some other questions that are in there about what you see from Edwards. So I'll just start with Matt Webster's super chat to go along with where you're going to talk about with VJ. Has Edwards earned rotation minutes in meaningful games, and what other player is he taking minutes from, barring everyone is healthy? So,
well,
Edwards.
First of all, like we talked about with the standings, today was a meaningful game. We are absolutely playing meaningful games right now, especially these two, today and Saturday. Second of all, it's going to be a little while until you get everybody back. I know Paul is coming back here soon, but Kelly still has a reevaluation that is, about a week away? And again, that's a reevaluation. He could be out longer than that. Justin will get some time. But yeah, I think you have to keep him in the rotation. Like, you don't take a young player out of the rotation when they're playing with this much confidence. And to me, the key with Justin's game tonight was he came out and you could see right from the jump that he was confident. Those first 2 threes that he made were not like wide open catch and shoot threes. They were contested. They were off the dribble. They were with a hand in his face. And for him to even take those, much less make those, it shows that he right now is playing with a lot more confidence than he was early in the season. And to me, that's a real key for Justin because, look, he's not going to blow by guys off the dribble. He needs to have guys closing out on him to open up driving lanes. But you're seeing when he does have those driving lanes, he's got some stuff that he can do. He can actually take advantage of those. He's making real nice pull-up mid-range jumpers. He's making some pretty good kick-out passes when the defense collapse on him as well. When he's able to get in the middle of the floor, he has the size and just enough skill to make the most of it. He just needs something to give him an edge so he can get into the middle of the floor, and that is the defender closing out on him. So, look, he's playing with a ton of confidence. He's able to take his skill set, that 3-point shot. He's utilizing it to open up driving lanes more than I think he ever has. Even last year at this time, I don't think he was driving this effectively and using the mid-range that effectively. And right now, everything's just clicking for him. And that extends the defensive side of the court. Even though this one, I don't think was quite, he's had some real good defensive moments here over the last 2 weeks. I don't think this was necessarily one of his best defensive games, but he's had a pretty extended stretch where he's played some pretty good team defense as well. There is no way you can take him out of the lineup when he is playing this well. And like I said, more importantly, this confidently, he absolutely has to have minutes. Doesn't mean it's going to last. It doesn't mean that this is the new Justin Edwards forever, especially a young player. He might go through some ups and downs, but it would be pretty criminal to take him out of the rotation right now.
Derek, you talk about driving lanes. He hit that reverse layup tonight. That's a move. That whole sequence is he's coming on. He's attacking a closeout, times his drive right, reads the defense, shields himself with the rim, and then the tough finish on the other side. Those are things we have not seen from him. Confidence is just a hell of a thing where we've seen everything from Justin. We've seen him struggle to impact a summer league game 2 years in a row. And then we've seen him basically beat the Boston Celtics by himself in a fourth quarter with a shooting barrage. We see him tonight set a new career high and score 32 points, make 7 threes. And it's just a reminder of, I think, the difficulty of being an NBA role player, where when you're in that box that he's in when this team is healthy, you might get 4 or 5 shots the whole game. And if you make one of those, or if you make none of those, you're out and you're not coming back in. They're going to try somebody else. They're going to play, 6 guys effectively and just say, we don't need our depth pieces. I'm going to just go to VJ and Tyrese and Paul and Joe and Kelly and maybe one other guy, and that's it. But now that he's got some runway, now that he's gotten some games under his belt, he's he's trying stuff, right? Like the thing I think you see when players are feeling good is, I'm going to do something like try that reverse layup. I'm going to get into my mid-range bag. I'm going to pull a three because somebody's just dropping a foot too much, right? They sunk a little too hard on this screen. I'm pulling because I feel good right now, and I know if I miss that, Nick Nurse isn't looking down the bench for somebody to sub in for me. And I don't know how much of that carries over when he's in a more specialized role. Joel's demanding the ball. Paul wants the ball. Tyrese is coming back for the ball. But I'm hoping that this is enough steam for Justin to carry this into the rest of the year. And to answer Matt's question, like to me, I would much rather have Justin have a shot than like a Trendon Watford. I know that Trendon should help you as a rebounder, like is a bigger player, potentially can guard some different guys. I would rather take my chances that Justin can make a bunch of threes in a playoff setting, and you can defend with like Paul, Oubre, Justin, or Quentin, Justin, Paul, like combinations like that, and hope you can cobble together the rebounding with young guys and athletes, then say we're going to put a guy who refuses to shoot and can't shoot from the perimeter, and we want to get the self-creation that Watford brings. Like, I don't believe in that. I'd rather have him in over probably like a Jabari Walker too. Like, they're probably competing for minutes to some extent. So it's not a big role, right? It's probably a guy who's more like your ninth guy in your rotation. He's your third wing, I think. But I would take a chance on a wing rather than saying we're going to play, non-shooting 4 type guys. Because the guards are going to play in the playoffs and in meaningful games 40 minutes a night. There just isn't – you're going to have enough ball handling, and you should have enough spacing if you actually play the guys that can shoot on this team. But we don't know how temporary this is for Justin. I just hope that he's able to bottle this up and ride this the rest of the season. Because this – maybe not 32 points, but this is the guy that I think we all thought they might be getting this year, and it's what the Sixers were betting on by having him as one of their key wings this season.
Such a weird season for him. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were wondering if he was going to be in the same situation that we saw Ricky Council in at the end, where saw a lot of really good flashes, but when he did get his time, whenever he got his time, he wasn't taking advantage of it. Now, with this extended time, you're seeing a lot of really good things from him. Moving over to another guy that hit 20 plus, 27 for Quentin Grimes. Kyle looking at what he was able to do with really 5 boards and 7 assists to go along with it as well. And you, like we talked about, even going back to the Denver game, you just need his scoring. You just do. And being able to get that 27 from him, but also the assists and the rebounds to be that veteran there with those other 2 young guys being able to shine. It's good to see once again Grimes with another big game like we have seen from him many times a year ago, early on in the season, and now tonight when they needed it.
It feels like just all pace of play for him. Just when he plays decisively, we talk about it all the time. His first step is so good that if he makes the decision early, ball hits his hands, and he's going to the rim, there really are not a lot of guys in the league that are able to stay with him. And I also think tonight was a great game of combination play, weirdly enough, with him and Andre Drummond. Like, they had several different give and go where Quentin brings the ball up or has the ball in a possession, finds Drummond, and then it's immediate back cut. Like, I'm going to the rim. Drummond hits him with a bounce pass or, chest high pass in traffic. And then Grimes is just going up, easy layup, easy dunk. Like, they had, I think, 2 or 3 of those moments tonight. And it almost made me think, like, oh, why don't they get him more usage, or why aren't they more deliberate with using him as a cutter? Like, we've seen someone like a Kelly Oubre, for example, has made a lot of money as a guy living in the dunker spot or the opposite corner of Joel Embiid, cutting off his weak side. If you could put Quentin Grimes in that same spot, he's a more dangerous shooter, number one. So it's going to be a tougher opportunity for the defense to try to double Joel out of that spot. But if they do, that's free money for Quentin. Just hit that spot down the baseline, get those. But I just loved how quickly he's making decisions tonight. I thought there were several plays off of offensive rebounds, and several of those were by VJ tonight, where the ball swings to Quentin, and he either is immediately attacking the closeout, or in one instance, VJ brings one down, and he's already going to the basket on a cut to get an easy basket at the rim. So when he keeps it simple, when he plays fast and not, plays fast trying to cross somebody over 15 times in a row before taking a mid-range jumper, he's a really, really dangerous player. And you're right. Maybe they don't need this exact game, right? 27 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. There's a whole lot of things he did in this one. I just think the outline of good Quentin Grimes is there in that game.
Because I can just see it in a playoff series with him where he's off the bench and he has a few minute run where he scores 8 points, and it can swing the game one way or the other with that ability to score. And we've seen it plenty of times in the playoffs from players in other teams. We've also seen it, in the past here, where you have guys come off the bench and they can just score the basketball that can turn things around. With his scoring ability, we talk about his two-way play defensively, where he can disrupt some things, maybe gets out in transition, gets an easy bucket because of it. That's just what he's a scorer. And yes, he can do a lot of those other things, but it may just call for that in a playoff series where you just need him to get buckets, where he's not, as Kyle said, crossing guys over 15 times in one possession there, but knows he can get by the guy and get a basket.
Yeah, and look, he got to the rim whenever he wanted in this game. And a lot of it was just very quick, very decisive, straight line drive kind of stuff. And once he got to the rim, he's just bigger and stronger than a lot of guys he's trying to finish through. And especially against this Sacramento King, they had no real prayer of stopping him. And the 7 assists to, I think he only had 1 turnover. This is a game, and look, the Sixers are generally a low turnover team. A lot of that, though, is because Maxey doesn't turn the ball over, and he's got the ball a lot. They came out, I don't think they had a single turnover in the first quarter when they were building up that big initial lead. And Quentin is a player who at times can be a little bit turnover prone when he's trying to do too much. Again, these were probably some of the easiest driving lanes he's going to have all year. Sacramento on the perimeter is that bad defensively, and they don't really have much in the form of weak side help to rotate over anyway. But he was, to the point, he was incredibly decisive, incredibly quick, and incredibly efficient with his drives to the basket. It was, this was the best Quentin game we've seen in quite a while. I feel a little guilty for him because he got overshadowed by career nights from the other 2 perimeter players. I don't really feel guilty because we got to watch a win, and that's all that matters, and a good basketball game.
And we've seen this from him before. Yeah.
What was that?
And we've seen it from him before.
Yeah, we've seen it from before. It's March. This is March. But no,
Derek Rothstein over there.
It was an incredible Quentin game for sure.
No, it really was. VJ Edgecombe, Justin Edwards, Quentin Grimes, fantastic performances from those guys leading the way. On the other side, we'll get to the unsung hero presented by Togo because they had help. Those 3 guys did. They had a ton of help. And we're going to talk about who we have as the unsung hero when we get back. It's the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Sixers 139, Kings 118, now 38-32 on the season for the Sixers. All right, Philly fans, you cannot leave a sporting event early. You have to wait and find out. You don't want to miss anything. But right now at Bet365, thanks to them, there's an early payout offer where leaving early has never been safer. If your team is riding high and they go up 10 points at any point of the game, Bet365 will pay you out right there on the spot. That's because Bet365, where winning is everything. Right now at Bet365, you can place a $10 bet, get a $365 promo available every single time right now for new customers. Those bonus bets of $365 can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more because it never hurts to have a little extra cheese in your pocket. Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the app today. Use code PHLY365 at sign up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in Pennsylvania. $10 minimum deposit required. Bonus bet wager excluded from returns. New customers only. Must be 21 plus. Only. Time limits, minimum odds, and terms and conditions apply. In-app only. Void where prohibited.
We work a lot of busy days and long nights here at PHLY, and that's why all the all-day deals that Wawa has going on are so critical for us to get the day started and then keep it rolling. They have $5 deals all day, including the $5 big breakfast meal deal. You get any sizzly. I love the bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant, hash brown, and any coffee, any size. So you go hot or iced. I go iced. Any size. I'm getting a large, of course. And that's all for $5, available from 5 to 11 a.m. But that's not all. They have $5 deals all day with the roasted and crispy chicken sandwiches created your way. And they've got new teriyaki recipes for a limited time. It's a shame I haven't tried it yet. I've heard amazing things though, but it's real food, real value, and built for busy days. Either way, no planning, no overthinking. I'm going to get one of those. You should get the teriyaki too. Limited time exclusions apply. See Wawa.com for details. We say it all the time, and you already know it. You got to have a Wawa.
Welcome back to the PHLY.
Avad's got his Wawa over there. Attaboy.
There you go. Before we get to the unsung hero, Matt Webster on Grimes in the super chat says he thrives when the starters are out. He seems to find his rhythm when everyone is out. Who is his ideal lineup to be with when he is out there in the playoffs? Who do you guys see as the ideal lineup with Grimes as a part of that five?
I will say the 3-guard lineup early in the year was absolutely killing teams. I know that tapered off a bit after that start, but I think that's something that certainly they can thrive in. Like the 3 guards, PG and Joel Embiid. That's a lot of firepower, right? And it puts Grimes in a situation where it's not as much on-ball responsibility. It is a little bit more like you take the open 3 or you attack the closeout or you're killing teams in transition and taking some pressure off of him. So there's something like that. I mean, when you get into the bench groups, I think clearly it's not like he can't succeed with VJ. I think when they're the only two, I think it can get a little bit dicey at times. I think Justin's emergence here has helped the two of them find some rhythm of their own. So yeah, like I don't think they need to like dramatically change any of their lineups. I think the key to this run is that not all his offense has had to be, spot up or 3-point heavy, which is what happens a lot of the time as he's playing off the other stars. So like with anyone, hey, maybe diversify the shot diet a little bit. Maybe finish some of your own layups because he has had some D'Anthony Melton-esque moments at times. So although I think it's insulting to compare him to Melt because Melt was a constant roller coaster on that front. But yeah, I don't think they need to change too much about the lineups that he's playing in. Where I don't want him is in the, hey, it's Quentin time, lone, like 6-man and no help around him. That's where I think you could probably get into quite a bit of trouble.
Yeah, you mentioned a 3-guard lineup. I remember looking at the data earlier on in the season, and his efficiency was through the roof. Now, I think a lot of that has come back down to earth a little bit. His shooting in general was just unsustainable earlier on in the season, so I'd be interested in actually going back and rerunning those numbers. Excuse me. But yeah, I think his versatility when he's playing well is that he can sort of succeed in a number of environments. He just went through that middle period of the season where it was really tough to watch. And like you've seen him earlier in the season when he's playing sort of like that role player role, and he's playing in those 3-guard lineups, and he was an absolute killer in the fourth quarter and down the stretch. Then you've seen him now where he's more of a featured player like he was at this point last year. You've seen him succeed in both those, and you've seen him, quite frankly, fail in both those roles at points in the season too. He's just been a very inconsistent and streaky player. I'm not sure exactly what the answer to that is because we just haven't seen him really have the kind of consistency where it would be easy to draw a through line on the cause and effect.
Yeah, by the way, they are winning the Grimes Edgecombe maxi minutes this year by over 8 points per 100 possessions, which is a really, really good number, especially when you consider they played almost 500 minutes together, which is a fairly significant sample size. So the more you can get those guys on the floor and not completely capitulate rebounding, that's going to be the key. And so if you're up against a Knicks team, a Boston team, frankly, they've been a great rebounding team. Even Detroit, because Duran is a handful by himself. That's the key, is if you can hang rebounding and defensively. Offensively, that group has been pretty awesome for most of this year.
Thanks for the super chat, Matt. We appreciate it. And right now, let's get to the unsung heroes of tonight, presented by Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo help you handle all the work. All right. A combined 21 points, 21 rebounds, 3 block shots for your center position between Edgecombe Bona and Andre Drummond, the unsung heroes of the night. Do your job against the Sacramento Kings team, get on the glass, make things easy, make the right passes, grab the boards. That's what they did tonight. And, of course, you got the 3, Andre Drummond. Once he made the first one, you knew. The next one that swung his way, he was not giving up that opportunity. Those 2, though, combined, that's a pretty good number for your center rotation with the guards doing what they were doing, 21 and 21, Derek, between both Bona and Drummond.
Yeah, it was funny. Drummond had points throughout the game where he was really frustrating me with his defense. And then he also had moments where he, ended up with 3 blocks, whole bunch of rebounds, made the 3 threes. So I thought it was a little bit of an up and down performance, which you tend to get with Drummond. But look, like I said, he had moments where the passing was really nice. The connections with Grimes specifically. He had moments where, do I completely buy the 3-point shooting? No, I certainly don't buy the 3-point shooting as much as Andre Drummond buys the 3-point shooting, but he made them tonight, and that is key. And I mean, look, Bona's just going to give you a lot of energy pretty much every night, and he's going to pursue on the glass. He's going to alter shots at the rim. The Kings were really testing him earlier on in the game and in the first half, and I thought he stood pretty tall at the rim a couple times, including the one with the offensive foul. It was not a super flat, although pretty flashy given the totals between the 2. But I think a consistently good effort between them.
I am glad that both of those guys played well, because if they had not, and I had to watch Maxime Reynaud put up a 30 ball in this game, I would have put the Joker makeup on and done the whole show pretending I was Heath Ledger. God rest his soul, obviously. My God, am I still annoyed by that. But I brought up the Drummond Grimes combination play earlier. Obviously, I thought that was a real. He's had a great passing week, I think, Andre Drummond. And I know his first stint here, there was a lot of, we'll call it adventurousness with Andre as a passer. And for every 2 or 3 good passes, you got one where you're looking at Doc, and Doc Rivers is creating a whole new meme to his collection of meme-worthy moments over the years. I think he actually has cut down on most of that stuff now. I think he's a fairly trustworthy decision maker. I do think, to the point about the threes, that while he, for a while there, was taking, I would say 2 or 3 too many, right now I think he's shown the right level of discretion. If he hits the early one, he's going to take some more, and I think that's fine because they're leaving him so open.
And I think the key is the corner, too. Not the top of the key, not the wing, it's the corner.
Yeah, and I was glad that the broadcast, because I have been tracking this, I was glad the broadcast spotlighted the fact that Drummond now has more threes made this season than the entire rest of his career combined, which is a hilarious thing to think about. Like, young Andre, I actually asked him about this at the game the other night. Would young Andre Drummond believe that he was even allowed to take this many threes, let alone eventually make as many as he has this year? So he has had a nice week, I think, a few good games here, which is great, because he went months with probably less good games than he's played in 7 days or so. And then Edem is slowly but steadily improving, getting double-digit rebounds. I'm always going to, give him a little golf clap for that. We love seeing Edem get any kind of rebounds, but mostly the defensive rebounds. He got 8 of those tonight. Kings are giving you plenty of opportunities to rebound the ball, thankfully. So good game by both of them. And I'm still looking forward to seeing Joel Embiid come back, because he certainly offers a different level of play than these two. But it's been nice to see both of these guys push one another over this last week or so.
Yeah. Someone asked earlier if this was his career high. Bona rebounds. No, he had 14 at the end of last season when he was getting more time, March of 2025. So
in Mickey March, we'll call it.
Mickey March is perfect. Those two guys, Bona, Andre Drummond, are Togo unsung heroes. The leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute at Togo. All right, when we come back, we'll get to your super chats, your remaining super chats. Maybe talk a little bit about, if we have time, Maxime Reynaud and what we saw from him in 48 minutes of watching him versus watching just some other games and what the guys thought. And we'll also get to our Bet365 post-game picks tracker on this night. Sixers, really, really good win. Needed this one, 38-22 on the season. Come back, final segment right here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show. Do you really want VJ Edgecombe, the only healthy star on the Sixers team, really jumping into the stands to save a basketball? Not so much. It's not worth the risk, time, or the money. And you need to keep your stars focused on what they do best, and that is to stay safe and healthy. And that applies the same to your businesses as well. That's where the great people from you know who we're talking about. Togo, for small and mid-sized businesses. Competing with bigger companies isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. With competition heating up, you can't afford to fall behind. Togo streamlines your operations by handling customer service, accounting, order management, logistics, admin, and so much more. Every engagement starts with free process mapping, and Togo doesn't bill a dime until real work begins. Programs start as low as $1,000 a month and are built to scale without breaking the bank. So if you're interested, visit Harness Togo, that's TOGO.com, and mention PHLY for a free operational assessment. If you're feeling it after a tough workout, maybe a pickup game or just everyday life catching up to you, don't ignore it. Go with the best. Rothman Orthopedics. They've earned national recognition as the #1 physician practice by Castle Connolly for having the most top doctors in orthopedic care. That means top-tier specialists right here and ready to help. Scheduling is simple. Just visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to book your appointment today. Check out Rothman's Fast Scheduler program for access to their VIP scheduling team to get you scheduled with the right provider. I'm one of them. I just right through because of this fast scheduler for my knee and my ankle. Or you can just simply tap into Rothman now for immediate virtual access to an orthopedic expert who can point you in the right direction. Don't wait it out. Don't be tough. Do the right thing. Go to rothmanortho.com/PHLY and take the first step toward feeling like yourself again. Back here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show, final segment with Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree. Hit the like button. A lot of you here on a 1:20 in the morning. We can't thank you enough for hanging out with us. Hit that like button while you're in there as well. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. Tell everybody when you're at work tomorrow, if you want to go back and rewatch it, let them know. Tell them to turn it on too. And we really appreciate it here on the PHLY Sixers
I do want to congratulate you two on the last 10 o'clock game of the season for you guys. Not for me, but for you guys.
Oh, yeah. Derek's going to have a surprise guest on Saturday night because Devon and I and Bree all took the night off on Saturday. Look at that. Look at that. So enjoy VJ versus Ace, Derek. You're going to have a lot of fun, maybe more fun than we're all having on Saturday, but I doubt it.
So all of us will be back together on Monday for Sixers welcoming home Jared McCain and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's
otherwise known as sell the team night.
Yes, it is. All right, let's get to the super chats. Then we'll get to our Bet365 pick tracker. Starting off with EJ just simply saying, before we get to his big super chat, as a supporters club member, everybody like the video. We appreciate it, EJ.
Man, thank you, EJ.
That's right. Spreading the word. Thank you, man. Kyle, telling me why they drafted Broom almost ruined my night.
We were talking about some stuff in Discord tonight. And to circle back on this, we've talked about this on the show, that part of why they drafted Janai was Janai took a 4-year contract, and that was a factor in why they were going to draft Janai Broom, or why they did draft Janai Broom. So he follows that with saying, Allah telling me that career 38% field goal, 28% from three, Killian Hayes was a never-in-doubt scorer. Made it better. GG's, y'all. Good win. Oh, and then he says, wave drum. I don't know, EJ. I don't think you can make the case to wave drum after tonight's game, after the stretch he's on. You might have been able to convince me like a week and a half ago, but he's doing his thing right now.
And Davon just follows it with, just wanted to come in here and remind everybody, Broom was drafted 35th, Maxime Reynaud 42nd. Good night, fellas.
Yeah, and look, clearly that's also a talent evaluation. Like if Daryl knew the difference in quality between these two, he would have taken Maxime on a 3-year deal. Like that's also a talent evaluation.
Yeah, it's the contract thing was a thing and a factor. But if Daryl was of the belief that Reynaud, or any other guy for that matter, was a tremendously better prospect, you're dealing with whatever the contractual stuff is, and taking the player who's going to positively impact your team. So look, we got a full game of Reynaud tonight.
So frustrating. I'm sorry. Just so frustrating.
Buddy, I'm with you. We've been banging this drum from the second they made the pick.
And literally when it was announced,
No, can we just say it before the pick, just because we all agreed not to take Johni Broome on the centers list that we had? Not him.
The crazy part is Reynaud was the guy that was one of like 2 or 3 guys that we were talking about there. It's not like this is hindsight, like, man, this dude who nobody had ever heard of from like some small town in Germany just fell out of the sky. And that's the guy like, oh, they should have taken him. Like, no, there's no hindsight here. We said leading into it as they did it and right afterward, like, yeah, somebody like Reynaud makes a lot of sense. And the thing that he brought to the table that we thought he was going to bring to the table, he hasn't done most of the year. Of course, tonight he goes 3 of 4 from 3.
Yeah.
And shaking my fist at the screen like, Daryl! So I did not I enjoyed it in the sense that it was pleasant to watch, like good hands, good finishing, good shooting. I don't think he did a hell of a lot of defending, but I would say that he was not exactly put in the best position to succeed with their perimeter defense. So yeah, I mean, regardless, a 30 ball with obviously, we send our best to Johni and his recovery from the injury and all that. But, yeah, the way he's played lately has made that pick look even tougher in hindsight.
Yeah. And, look, we have another super chat coming in from School Board saying that historically we've been lazy in evaluating, i.e. Colangelo. And, look, we are killing Daryl on the Broome pick in part because we didn't like it at the time. Certainly, we are hitting Daryl on the McCain trade because that is in part a talent evaluation trade as well. It is worth pointing out that like drafting has been the one thing that Daryl and really this whole front office collective effort.
That's part of the problem too, is because he has hit on these other ones.
Right. It's like the one area that he's done pretty consistently well. So look, you're not going to get every 35th pick right. This one was frustrating because it felt obvious at the time, but the larger track record is still pretty positive in the draft. But yeah, this one hurts because I never believed in Johni. I'm not going to say I saw this coming,
right?
But even still, I was way more intrigued by Reynaud than I was in Broome.
I still don't see how Johni Broome gets on the floor. Even now, I just don't. Not at least right now, I don't. At least right now, but Reynaud looks pretty solid. Nice pick for the Kings, and hope it all works out for him and Johni Broome. In the end.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We'd love for Johni to come back next year and build on Tom mentions in the chat. Obviously, he had the 50 ball in the G League. And so he has gone down there and certainly proven like I can dominate at that level, which that's good. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you that if he was stinking it up in the G League, we'd be concerned. So the fact that he's gone down there and doing what he needs to do to show like I'm above this level, that's great. Problem is
50 is 50. So
scoring 50 at any level in any gym is a great thing. I think the problem is, as you're right, Devon, like I don't see what the vision is here. I don't know how he's getting into the mix. It's not going to be a center. doesn't really make any sense. And so he's going to have to shoot and play more of a role player's role. And that's not how he has succeeded. That's not how he's made his bones. So I obviously hope for his sake, for the Sixers' sake, that eventually that pick comes good. But watching Reynaud go for 30 when he's had some other big games recently also just not particularly inspiring.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's see how our pregame picks did in our Bet365 pick tracker on night 2 of the pick tracker here on the show.
Hold on.
Look at that.
How did we get thrown into this?
Where's Bree?
Where's Bree? Where did Bree get a one?
They haven't sent her cartoon head yet. So we're waiting on that.
At least Bree gave us a dash instead of a 0 because we're not participants in this.
Don't give her any ideas. We're gonna have zeros now for the next game.
Listen, after all the carrying on I did about the Von 0, I think it'd probably be karmic justice if they put my 0 on the screen for sure.
That one looks nice next to it, so we'll take it. And that is again.
Although I guess I'm gonna have to do that on Saturday. So if I get it right, if I get it right, I want a percentage next to my name, not just 1, because then like Devon's gonna have like 10 by the end of the year. It's gonna be 10-1. I want 100% next to my name.
All right.
Derek wants a custom graphic. Let's talk.
You know what that custom graphic needs to be? An enlarged 0 if you get it wrong on Saturday. That's what it needs to be. Our Bet365 pregame, our Bet365 pick tracker is presented by Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the app and use code PHLY365 at sign up today. All right, before we get to the roll call, we'll make it real quick here on the standings. Bree, of course, did a great job with the graphic, so we want to show everybody what she did. Sixers are at number 9 right now, tied with the Heat for 8, but behind them because of tiebreaker. Sixers play the Heat one more time before the season is up. That's in about a week or so. Orlando has a half-game lead over the Sixers for number 7. The Hawks have won 11 games in a row. They are now 6th and just a half a game back of 5 up behind the Raptors. Hornets lose tonight to the Magic, so they are still 2 games back of the Sixers after this win for Philadelphia. So still have a chance, guys. 2.5 games back. 2 games back of 5 and half a game back of 6. It's unbelievable that we are here in this spot with this basketball team after all that. By the way, 12 games remaining on the schedule for the Sixers after this game was played tonight. And that includes the Utah Jazz, where Derek will be with a special guest host with him on Saturday night here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. So,
and let me also mention, Devon, because we're going to have to head into overtime regardless. The Flyers did win in their late night game. We had Brenna in here saying we're going to be done at 3 a.m. They're going into overtime. So for the whole Flyers crew, including the fans and the Flyers, of course, thank you, Flyers, for winning and ending it now so that our gang can get a little bit of sleep tonight. And 2 Philadelphia victories tonight. Unfortunately, Penn got absolutely trounced in the NCAA tournament, so couldn't make it 3 W's.
All right. So also, while we're off Saturday, we're off. All of us are off on Friday, but off Saturday. Kyle will be back tomorrow with Bill Matz for the tournament watch along.
He said all of us are off. And then
no, they're not.
Except for you. Except for you. Kyle is working with Bill Matz of the Flyers. So late night for Kyle, late night for Bill. But they'll be back for Sling TV.
Tune in to watch Bill and I sleeping on the couch watching the NCAA tournament tomorrow at the office.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Sling TV.
All right, we're at overtime for the roll call. Make sure you head on over to allphly.com for the remainder of the show. On the television side, thank you so much. We'll see you back on Saturday for the pre- and post-game with Derek and the special guest for Sixers Jazz. Jazz also played tonight at home, and I forgot if they won or lost, but the Jazz did play tonight. They beat
the Jazz, demolished the Bucks.
Yep.
The special guest is Omar. But he's got to show the watch on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Watch, Omar.
You got to play his intro music, man.
He's got to be at the
Blueprint 2, baby, on the way.
He's got to be at the Roots picnic, man. We got to have Omar coming to town for the Roots
Jay-Z, Erykah Badu, and Omar Cooper.
Just
Omar
going like
Cooper
this.
backed by the Roots. Which instrument in the Roots band would Omar Cooper play? I'll take your answers offline.
That's a good question. All right, let's get to the world famous late night roll call on this early Friday morning.
Guys, I can't express enough love for the fact that so many of you spent an hour plus of your night. It's after 1:30 in the morning, hanging out with us jokers here on the PHLY Sixers show. Thank you to everyone who was here. I'm not going to get to all of you just because it's impossible to write down every name while we're here. But thank you to Schoolboy for a super chat, to EJ Barrett for some super chats tonight. We have Matt Webster with a couple of super chats tonight. Thank you, gang, for contributing to the show. And EJ even offered a reminder to everybody to like the show. How about that? He's doing our job for us. I would love for all of you to like the show and help us out. Say thank you to super producer Bree, of course. And thank you also to Top Lunch 10, who I believe is one of the hockey gang who came in and said, "Go Flyers." So
what up, Top Lunch?
We celebrate the Flyers down here with Top Lunch. Thank you to Chucky215, to Brian Knight, to Brenna, who came in to hang out while the Flyers were fired in overtime. Of course, thank you to Sir Schmooey, to Black Moses, to Terry Hayden, Benjamin, Jeff, who said, "Hey, the show's starting at 6 a.m. Look at that. Little PHLY Sixers with your morning coffee.
Glad it's not
Jeff.
6 a.m.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I will be dead asleep at 6 a.m. Thank you to Phil W., our guy. Must be in mourning without Kelly Oubre right now. He was happy with his agent, man. I hope you're staying on top of the rehab and everything else. Get him right for the end of the season. Vino Wines, K Fergie, I Gavini, Rich P, Joe XK9. Thank you for coming in. Thank you to Lee, to Sean Sharp. Say what? To Mom's grandchildren, Arizona Ron, TTP Lean, Tom Jackson. Better call B-Ball Paw. That's a great name. Here's another great name. Framed McRib. A framed McRib has entered the chat. Thank you to Music Lover. Thank you to Reardon, X-Man, Theo, Marcus Blackstock, AA Ron, Jay the Jungle, Val, Jess, my girl Nona.
Hey, ladies.
And Eugene Jay. Ross, all our wonderful people who are always hanging out with us on a late night. I love y'all. We love y'all. Thank you for spending some time with us tonight. On the way out, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. Derek and a special guest will be back on Saturday night. Devon, Bree, and I will be having some fun, hitting the town, doing who knows what. Maybe together, maybe separately. Who knows? I will be on, as Devon said, the watch along with Bill Matz and perhaps some other PHLY characters tomorrow during the NCAA tournament for a little bit. So come hang out. Until then, and until the next time we all see you, stay safe, take care of one another. Goodbye, everybody.
See you.
We all silly like the mayor.